Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your commissioner speaking, and we have week 9 wrapped up, and we're ready for the double digit weeks. Week 10 is up ahead, but first, let's see what happened on week 9. Let's get the intro out of the way real quick.
Week 10 recap.
That's right, you guys. Week 9 was full of surprises. We had definitely some good performances. Some were kind of sneaky because we did not expect them, right? So, some injuries happened that shouldn't have happened. McCaffrey. Anyways, you guys, let's get this rolling. Let's see who the best quarterback this week was. And I'm proud to say it was this guy. Kyler Murray. This guy has been, according to the pros, he's the only quarterback that's performed as a top 10 quarterback every week this season. Granted, he wasn't a bye week last week, but he came back with the vengeance. This kid had 21 completions for 283 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He ran 11 times for 106 yards, for 1 rushing touchdown, for a total of 71.92 fantasy points. And that is, of course, my quarterback. That's my quarterback. My quarterback. So that is basically best case scenario for me in that perspective. So I'm kind of glad that happened. I finally have someone with my team name right on it. So proud of myself. All right, speaking of being proud, check out this dude. Dalvin Cook, you guys. Freaking last week broke records for, I actually have a little blurb on that a little later. But I want to say that was the best running back performance since our league has been around. So that was last week. He had, 78 fantasy points. This week, 64.2. 22 rushing attempts for 206 yards. And also, he had 46 receiving yards. 2 touchdowns, I already mentioned that. 64.2. Damn. Between last week and this week, this kid's already scored practically 200 fantasy points. And that is in 2 weeks, which is more than most of my people on my team. If you put all my receivers together and all my running backs, I think most of my running backs are like 90 fantasy points combined. Not combined, but, for the whole season each. But yeah, so Dalvin Cook, he's on fire. So Jay, sir, one hell of a player to have. I want to say, unfortunately, you did not win, did you? Let's see. Let's review your matchup. Where are you? Oh, Tony, you won again. Holy crap. Tony's on a 3-game winning streak, so congratulations, Tony. But yeah, so he beat Jay's team 180 to 174. So it was that Patriots defense last night that little by little was trying to creep in there and finally got you enough points to get that win. So Jay, Dalvin Cook was one hell of a player for you, but sadly not enough to cover the Patriots defense for Monday night. But yeah, great outing. Dalvin Cook is on fire. Let's get to a weird name. This guy. Yeah, so Richie James, wide receiver for the 49ers, 9 receptions, 184 receiving yards, 1 touchdown for 40.4 fantasy points. He is a free agent, and I'm not surprised because I never really heard of that name before. I'm a bad commissioner, sorry. But yeah, so Richie James is our highest receiver. However, I have to make a second note. 0.3 points away from that was Rashad Perriman, so the New York Jets receiver. 5 catches for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns for 40.10. Also a free agent. So our top 2 wide receiver performances of week 9 were under the names of not too many famous people. So Richie James and Rashad Perriman, very close, 40.4 and 40.1 fantasy points each. They're both free agents. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, let's go on to our tight end. So I don't have to repeat his name, I think, right? Because this guy, he's been doing everything. Travis Kelce, 10 receptions for 109 yards. I'm sorry, 159 yards. No touchdowns, but that was enough to get 28.9 fantasy points, and that is the highest performance for any tight end. So Travis Kelce, 28.9, and that is Tony's tight end. So that's back-to-back for Travis Kelce. Let's go on to our kicker. So we also mentioned his name a couple of weeks ago, Tyler Bass, or Bass, right? 5 extra point attempts and 3 field goals for 21 fantasy points, and that is Terrence's kicker, Tyler Bass, or Bass. All right, and last but not least, the defense. So one I could have picked up this week, and obviously, it's gonna be the Saints versus the Bucks. That is Drew Brees with Michael Thomas back, and freaking Tom Brady with Godwin, freaking Mike Evans, and then Gronkowski, and now Antonio Brown. That's gonna be a shootout. There's no way fantasy defenses are gonna be good on either team. The Saints take the top defense this week with 3 sacks and 3 interceptions. They only allowed 3 points and 94 total yards allowed. They totally shut out the Bucks. Tom Brady was just like, I almost said something not political. Okay, going back to not political mentality. So he just had a bad game. But that has such a big potential. I know Anthony was looking for that Tom Brady comeback in the second quarter. He ended up what? Let's see how you do. Okay, you lost by about 30. Close to 30 points, Anthony, and you lost to Cody. But yeah, so if Tom Brady would have had a good performance, 30 points is probably nothing for Tom Brady. He would have been able to get that no problem. You probably could have had a win, but that's fantasy for you. You would never have expected that from that team or from that matchup. All right, guys, so those are our top players this week. I am glad I got one name on there this time. I'm still at the bottom. Ranking system, hey. Speaking of ranking system, we got a new leader, Mr. Gabe. He has taken the #1 spot in the league. But he is tied. He's not alone. Let me bring this back. So right now we have, you guys, 3 teams on the top 3. They're tied, essentially, but ranked #1 is Gabriel, followed with Cody and Aaron. So they're both tied with 6 wins, 3 losses. Then we have only 2. We have 2 teams at the 5 and 4, and that is Terrence and Jay. And then you have 5 teams with 4 and 5. And then you have Simple Jack over here at 3 and 6. And Michael has dropped to the bottom of the pile at 3 and 6. But no worries, Michael. We had the same record, so I'm right there with you. But yeah, you guys, so yeah, definitely we have a new ranking leader. So we have Gabe. Congratulations. And speaking of ranking, our power rank leader is also Gabriel. So he retains his power rank leader title with 1925.18. Our lowest is Charles with 1428.1. So again, Charles is not ranked 12th, so power ranking, it just kind of gives you another idea on the type of luck this team is getting. But yeah, so don't feel too bad, Charles. You're not at the bottom like Michael and I. But yeah, congratulations on Tony. That's 3 games in a row. Who else got a streak going on over here? Gabriel and Cody's got a 2-game winning streak. Jay's got a 3-game losing streak. And also Michael on a 3-game losing streak. So keep your head up, boys. Up high. I count on you. Okay? All right. So like I mentioned last week, you guys, I wanted to find out who was the best running back out there. Well, it turns out that our league doesn't keep stats like that on a per person or per player basis. The best I was able to do... before I get to the individual players who were talking about power ranking, this is, of course, for the end of the season. Once the season is over, the actual record holder for that is Anthony. This is for the 2014 season. He scored a whopping 3,094.8 fantasy points. So that is the best season when it comes to fantasy points, right? And you did win that year. I remember that was our first year in the league, and you won the first. You were the first winner. So that was all down on your side. You had the best power rank. The second best. This is how good Anthony's outing in 2014 was. The second best power rank for the end of the year was Gabriel for the 2018 season. He had 2,638.54. That is practically 400 fantasy points more than Anthony. I'm sorry, Anthony has about 400 points more than the second place team. So that tells you how much of a gap Anthony's got between number two. All the other ones are within 100, all within 100, from the ranking perspective. Now, individual performance, this is one specific player. We already know, because I mentioned this before, Drew Brees is the leader. He's got a whopping 100.04, and this was scored in 2015. However, Dalvin Cook for last week, he scored 78.6. That is the highest this year from any player, any position. But also, he's the only non-quarterback to hold highest of the year record. So, I mean, obviously, we still have games to play. So, some other team or some other player could still beat that record. But 78.6 is our current leader on any position. And it's the first time it's an actual non-quarterback. So most of the time, if you see the highest scores per year basis, it's always a quarterback. This is Dalvin Cook. This is the first running back that holds that position right now. He could still be broken. The season's not over, but it'll be exciting to see. All right, so he is our first running back with that record. And then, of course, the best team performance on a week-to-week basis. Again, I know I mentioned this before. It's Tyrese, 316.75. Also on the 2014 season. All right, so Teresa has an individual. Anthony's got the season-wide. And, of course, this year, so far, Gabriel's got the biggest outing at 286.62 earlier this year. So far, nobody's been anywhere close to that. As a matter of fact, our MVT this week, I think it's the lowest MVT, because that's the lowest MVT score. But yeah, you guys, so those were some interesting numbers I gathered together for you. They're easy for you to find. You could easily find them as easy as me, but I just put it here in the video for you. All right, guys, so we got the best players this week. I haven't covered the MVTs, but I covered the ranking and our leaders in our history books. So now I present you guys our MVT of Week 9, Terrence, right? So it's not his first, so this is a multiple MVT performance year for Terrence, 213.8. Again, like I mentioned a second ago, it is the lowest MVT we had this season, but it's still the MVT, so good job to Terrence. All right, you guys, and now your feature presentation, our Donkey Award. So our Donkey Award this week goes to... I'm sorry, Charles, that is a back-to-back donkey performance for you. 125.4, so not bad. You definitely did way better than last week, but you still get your Donkey of the Word. Here you go. So Mr. Charles gets a Donkey Award again this week. So that is basically how the week turned up. Of course, we did have, like I mentioned, a lot of high scores. We have Christian McCaffrey come back and made a big impact on his team, but then unfortunately he suffered a shoulder injury right at the end of the game. So he's still questionable to play for this week. So again, Gabriel's already got Mike Davis. So if McCaffrey don't play, then you have the direct replacement. And who else got hurt? I know Big Ben got put in the COVID protocol, whatever they call it, because he was a high risk. So he didn't get it himself, but I'm sure he's going to get tested. So hopefully he comes out negative, because if he comes out positive and then he doesn't play, every receiver with the Steelers, and remember the Steelers are the only undefeated team in the NFL. So if Big Ben doesn't play, there's a good chance that they might not win that game, which means all of those receivers might take a big pay cut on their fantasy performance. Okay, so keep that in mind. So yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of other things I want to talk about, but I'm already at 15 minutes, so I'm not about to make you guys sit through that again. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, again, look at those rankings. Everybody still got a chance. There's still several games left, and we're only 2 games away from being on the top 6 people. So we got this. We're not looking back. All right, guys. So have a good week. We'll see you guys next week for the Week 10 recap. Peace out.